put in some extra hours at work, but that just snowballs into extra childcare.
For a lot of other people, 100, 200 bucks a month, 300 bucks a month if you're commuting, a lot further. It obviously does have a severe impact, economic impact on a lot of people.
It sucks. Like, we're suffering the price for something that's happening in another country.
This is really affecting everything, and it's a trickle-down effect. When gas goes up, it just trickles down to the consumer. It affects grocery prices, everything, Amazon. The price goes up, and it's just really hitting people in the pocketbook.
Some Americans are pointing the finger of blame squarely at Biden, with a new trend making fun of their president popping up at petrol stations in the form of stickers showing Biden pointing at the high prices with the caption, "I did that," as well as comparing the cost of petrol under Trump with those under their current leader. However, US Democrats are laying all the blame, not surprisingly, on the Russian president, saying the conflict in Ukraine is solely responsible for the soaring petrol prices.
Putin's tax, that's really Putin's gas hike. That's his gas hike.
No matter what we do on imports of Russian oil, the person responsible for inflation at the gas pump is Vladimir Putin. It's his war.
I think they're hurting Americans. Of course, though, a lot of the oil prices are going up, not because of the conflict, but because of price gouging by the oil. The truth is they are going up, and the American people are going to be hurt. Working people, poor people. Calculated to hurt Russian leaders or to curb Russia's actions. It is calculated to hurt the Russian people so that they will act against their government. In the process, it's going to hurt people in Europe. It's going to hurt people in the United States. And so they are counterproductive, at least from the point of view of, real human beings, as opposed to, huge multinational corporations that are going to make it from all this.
Now, the EU, in coordination with the G7 leading economies, to impose a fourth package of heavy economic sanctions against Russia over the conflict in Ukraine. The move was announced by the European Commission's president at a press conference following an EU summit in Versailles.
So today, we, the European Union and our partner in the G7, continue to work in lockstep to ramp up the economic pressure against the Kremlin. Tomorrow, we will take a package of measures to further isolate Russia and drain the resources it uses to finance this barbaric war.
The new sanctions will remove benefits that Russia has enjoyed as a member of the World Trade Organization, as well as target Russian elites who are close to Vladimir Putin, preventing them from using cryptocurrencies to circumvent related restrictions. The measures will also prohibit Russia from receiving imports of luxury goods from the EU and stop Russia from exporting iron and steel to the bloc. They'll also outlaw European investments in Russia's energy sector. Former Austrian Foreign Minister Karin Kneisel believes these sanctions will affect not only Russia, but indeed the whole world.
Well, we have seen over the last 3 weeks, actually, that the market prices reflect this tremendous uncertainty that the sanctions have been causing. And this was to be expected. Maybe the volume has surprised some, but it goes far beyond the energy market. It goes far beyond the price hikes that we have seen in the oil and gas market. It also considers food prices. What was to be expected, of course, is a galloping inflation. So this goes far beyond now the European Union or the US. It affects a country on a global level. The fact that Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and the Foreign Minister of Ukraine, Mr. Kuleba, met in Antalya is already a little tiny, whatever you can call it, success in itself, because there was a physical meeting. We have to keep up all sorts of channels, all sorts of diplomatic talks. Maybe this meeting at the margins of Antalya can somehow start, and I'm really just thinking in tiny, tiny steps, of rebuilding something like trust, because trust is the key word. And we are right now in the fog of war, and there has to be some sort of contact. There has to be every channel used.
Kiev peace negotiators are continuing their dialogue by telephone after several rounds of face-to-face talks. A Russian delegation member told RT that significant progress is now being made.
По сравнению с началом переговоров,
and those since then, which take place through daily video calls, the negotiation process, I can say that we will reach a consensus soon. This progress may turn into documents for signing in the coming days, which is important, because they will reduce the degree of tension in the military operation.
The US is reportedly considering an alternative deal on Iran's nuclear program that would exclude Russia. Washington is said to be against any promises to Russia that a new deal with Tehran would exempt Moscow from more international sanctions. This comes just hours after a dozen missiles fired from inside Iran struck an area in neighboring Iraq. Iranian officials say they were targeting covert Israeli military sites there. The US State Department says there's no indication that the attack was directed against American targets. These images show massive blasts, apparently right after the missiles impacted. At least one person is said to have been injured in the attack. The missiles did cause some damage to buildings, including a Kurdish broadcaster's headquarters. Sections of the ceiling have collapsed inside the offices, with broken glass scattered across the halls as a result of the attack. The incident comes at a delicate time in negotiations between Iran and world powers on restoring a 2015 nuclear deal that eased sanctions on Tehran in exchange for restrictions to its nuclear program. Negotiators had recently said they were close to an agreement, but Western sanctions on Russia and Moscow's demands that such sanctions would have no impact on Russian trade with Iran have put an indefinite hold on the talks. University of Tehran professor Mohammad Marandi says Western countries are intentionally stalling the talks.
The problem that we have with the nuclear deal right now is that the United States and the Europeans have still not accepted a number of key issues that are vital for the Iranians in order for the nuclear deal to be revived. And they keep dragging their feet. We're near the finish line. The Americans and the Europeans don't want to what is necessary. So the Iranians are waiting for them to make that decision. Also, with regards to the issue that exists between the Russians and the United States, the Iranians expect that resolved.
Well, that brings us to the news for this hour. From myself, Paula Slier, and the team, thank you for joining us.